If you feel uninspired, one way to get creative is to limit yourself. Now today I wanted to do exactly that with a little challenge. So we are gonna make a song out of one white noise sample and see how it goes. For a basic song we need drums, bass, chords and some kind of lead. Let's just start with drums because that's the most complicated one. Right, I've prepared something already. Now the first thing is the kick. So this is the sample I've used. How do you create a kick from white noise? I've started with this, made it short and snappy. This just sounds like a hi-hat now. Then I put some effects on this. EQ, limiter, EQs and clipper just to beef it up. But this EQ looks a bit weird. If you watched my video about kicks, you know that the kick is just a sine wave but pitched down really fast. And this automation is going to pitch down 2 points really fast. And this automation down here is gonna adjust the volume of each of these points. So if you look at the EQ and I play it, I bounce it out and got to work. On the next effects chain I have EQ, transient processor, OTT decapitator, more EQ to get rid of some frequencies I don't want to have, more transient processor, more attack, less release. This EQ does nothing. More clipping, more EQ to shape it, more EQ, and then we have this. I routed this to another mixer track and made another chain with just some EQ and compression. I bounced it out, got this one, and have another chain on this with OTT, transient processor, more EQ, more transient processor and some analyzer to see how it looks. I bounce it again, put more EQs and transient processor, limiter to boost it, EQs, all that stuff again basically, and we get this. The most important thing is that subby round low end. This was too wide in my opinion, so on the stereo spectrum it's like really wide. Made it more mono right here. I bounce it out once again on this effects chain, just 2 limiters to push it even further and make it loud. Now it's almost a kick. I bounce that out again. On this kick I only have 2 more EQs to adjust some frequencies. And then I made a loop, bounced that out and I have this. Right, next step was the hi-hat. That was supposedly the easiest one because a hi-hat is already some sort of white noisy thing. So I just shorten it down. This is a bit more interesting though. We have Serum 2 effects on this and a Combs filter that does this weird thing. I'm not really sure what a Combs filter does. I just know that it makes it gives it this metallic characteristic. With transient processor, Combs filter and some equalizer that does nothing, we got this. Now this sounds a bit like a hat, doesn't it? I bounced that out, put a lot of distortion on this, OTT and an EQ to get rid of the lows. I bounced this again, made a little volume automation to shape it before, after, just a little bit shorter. I bounced that again, made this more mono as well and some minor tweaks in the EQ. You get this. I made a loop again. Now the next step for me was the clap. A clap is already made of noise mainly. I have used a volume automation to shape it. Now put distortion OTT, some EQs on this, some transient processor and we get this. This sounds a lot like a clap already. I bounced it out once again and put some more clipping and limiting on it so just gets louder. This is a lot of gain. Some reverb and delay send here. I reversed one clap and let it slap into the clap itself. It's really subtle but it works. To make it groove more I wanted some shakers. Now this is actually just the hi-hat but shortened, and if you look closely I've faded it so there's no transient basically. Now listen to the drums. So the first thing for the bass is I had this white noise, shaped it a bit with a fade out and then put a lot of equalizer on it to tone one note. To know which frequencies to boost I actually used a chart from the internet and then you can just see which frequencies to boost. So I boosted this and shaped it more OTT, distortion, EQ, OTT, transient processor, you get it, it sounds like this. I bounce it, put devil lock on it and we get this. Sounds shit, but with a little filter automating we get I made this simple loop. And then I put more distortion, OTT and transient process on this, and we get this. And then I put vocal synth on this. I adjusted the notes a bit. I rendered this out to a loop and put more distortion, more OTT, more transient processor and more EQ and more kickstart on this for sidechain. Now this actually sounds like a cool bass, a bit inconsistent with notes it actually plays. Who cares, right? Just sounds dirty and I like it. Now we have the whole groove with bass and drums and put a little white noise at the start. Alright, so the chords, so just this white noise sample. I made an EQ and this is just too much work for too little outcome, but it's fun, I guess. Again, I looked up which frequencies to boost for which notes it should play, and I automated each frequencies, if you look closely, like 4 here and here, and just slightly so they play different notes basically. Then I made some more adjustments with EQ, OTT, and EQ, and EQ, and EQ, and OTT, and distortion, and EQ, and we get this. I made another chain with OTT, more EQs. I tried to get rid of the white noise here, like in the background, it sounds muddy. EQs, more EQs, and we get this. Bounced it out, and actually I made little plucks from it, and this works pretty well. If you all remember, the last thing we need is a lead. I have made lots and tons of EQs on this. I just boosted basically the fundamental frequency of the note I wanted to play. That was a B. Then the octave up and like another octave or something. I boosted more frequencies, took down the highs, OTT, distortion, EQ adjustments, and then we get this. Then another chain with patcher. This is FP Smooth. It's actually a free version of the Soothe plugin. Just some guy, I think, made it in FL Patcher. That's just mind-blowing because if you look at the map, it's just tons and tons of EQs and modulations. Don't want to get even into it. We have this beautiful overlay and we can just tame some frequencies. And then I put OTT on this, OTT, transient processor, another smooth, some EQ adjustments and an EQ to boost the highs in the end, and we get this. Made it into a sampler so we can play this melody. And this is just more distortion, transient processor and some kickstart. Before the drop I wanted a little riser, so I took white noise again, put distortion on this, EQ automation, just a bell that goes up, an EQ to get rid of the lows, pan man to pan from either side, and this will get faster with this automation. Now this is the riser. The drop is almost finished, you know all the sounds we use, but I wanted to beef up the chords, so I put some distortion, EQ, OTT, kickstart on this, and a little filter automation with this just low pass filter again, and we get this for the chords. Right, have fun listening to a white noise song. Doesn't sound good, right? You could have made more effort into the build-up and into the verse, and doesn't sound as round as a song. But for white noise, come on, I think it sounds decent. Leave me alone. Alright, if you want to try this challenge yourself, just go for it. Limit yourself to get more creative freedom, always works. And send me some stuff if you want, or your experiences in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next Friday. Goodbye.